In the 8th round of Tata chess, world champion Magnus Carlsen shocked the world by playing the Schara Gambit against his opponent Shankland. Today we're going to be having a look at all the ways you can gain a nice positional edge in all of these tricky lines. The Schara Gambit is an opening for the black pieces, and after white plays d4, queen's pawn opening, we're going to respond with d5. After c4, the queen's gambit, e6, the queen's gambit declined, knight c3, c5, so this is still normal, this is the trash defense, a favourite of Daniel Dubov. So c takes d5 and the gambit starts after the move c takes d4. There's two main moves that we'd like to have a look at here, that being queen takes d4 and queen a4 check. Let's have a look at queen takes d4 first. So after this we're going to be playing the move knight c6. Knight c6, we're attacking the queen, this knight cannot be taken, this pawn is pinned to the queen. The only squares that it makes sense for the queen to go to are d2 and d1. Anywhere else it could be easily attacked or this pawn would be undefended. And after the queen retreats to d1, we're going to be playing e takes d5, so we're recapturing our pawn. And here, white has the choice of queen takes pawn and knight takes pawn. Let's have a look at knight takes d5 first. Knight takes d5, although it looks natural, and you may find people play this quite often. After the move knight f6, black already has a slight advantage. After knight takes f6, queen takes f6, black has the very annoying threat of bishop b4 check. For example, after knight f3 and bishop b4 check, the knight comes back to block, and after bishop f4 and the knight coming in here, black already has a massive advantage. So going back, that's why a lot of players here will play the move a3 to stop bishop f4. After which, we're just going to play very calm. We're going to play bishop e7. In a while you see how strong black's position really is. Let's just say white develops. Natural move knight f3, kingside castles for black, e3 trying to get the bishop out. We have rook d8 attacking the queen. Were the queen to come to c2 or b3, then we would just attack it. The queen would come to a4. On a4 the queen can't be attacked, but it finds itself quite distant from play. And after the move bishop h3, which is a really fascinating move, it's very hard to find a move for white. This bishop can't move, otherwise this pawn would be lost. This knight can't move anywhere if all of these squares are taken. This bishop can't move, b2 would be lost, and this queen is really offside. Let's say rook g1, defending this pawn for the bishop to move. Black has already got what they have wanted. White can no longer castle on the king side. For example, after bishop d7, queen f4, knight a5, queen takes f6, bishop takes f6, knight d2, and bishop a4. Black has an amazing position here. This bishop exerts a lot of pressure on this diagonal. This bishop exerts a lot of pressure on this diagonal. This knight is ready to jump in this position. The rooks are on open files. So now that we know that knight takes d5 is a bad move, let's now have a look at queen takes d5. Queen takes d5, we're going to play the move queen c7, declining the queen trade, and after e3, preparing to develop, we're just going to gain a few tempo on the queen. With knight f6, queen b3, we're going to play a6 to stop this knight jumping into b5, knight f3, bishop d6, bishop e2. Now I propose the line bishop e6, queen c2, and queenside castle. And I believe that black has everything that they want here. We're castled queenside, all of our pieces are developed. This rook is ready to come to the centre. We'll start our h pawn march. So coming back to the original position, we've just had a look at all the lines associated with queen takes d4, but white may choose the smart choice of playing queen a4 check first, baiting out one of our pieces to the d7 square, after which white can freely take the pawn without any pin on the d file. I would like to briefly mention a very crazy line here. If you're playing against a lower rated opponent, then this is something to keep in your arsenal. There is the move b5 in this position. Crazy. If queen takes d4 were to be played, then we would have the knight c6 lines again. It'd be very similar. If the queen takes b5 was played, then we play move bishop d7, so we're attacking the queen, and the knight is also hanging. We would be winning here. So of course the move to look into is knight takes b5. We're going to play bishop d7 here. After bishop d7, there is the move e4. This is the only move that keeps the advantage for white here. Otherwise, we'd simply take or play the move a6. After we play the move a6 and white plays pawn to d6, threatening knight c7 check, we are forced to give up the exchange with a takes b5, and after queen takes a8 and bishop takes d6, this position is objectively better for white. I'll let you make your own mind up about it though. It is a reasonable continuation after queen a4 check. So now let's get back to the main line. So we're going to play bishop d7, and after queen takes on d4, we're going to play e takes d5, queen takes d5, and the move knight c6. White will play the main move here, knight f3. We get a free move with knight f6. The queen comes back to d1, and after bishop c5, e3 is played, blunting our bishop out, preparing to develop to the bishop to e2 and just simply castle. We're going to play queen e7 here. Queen e7 is a good move as it still makes white question which way we're going to castle. After bishop e2 and castles queenside, we do have the threat of bishop h3, where the queen would be attacked in the g2 pawn also. Many white players will try to castle here to defend the g2 pawn, and here's the start of the main line. I'd say that black, no matter what the engine thinks, has a very good attacking position here, especially after the move g5. g5 is a great move, kickstarting the kingside attack. g4 is possibly a threat with the h pawn march as well, but of course we do have to have a look at what happens if this pawn is captured. After knight takes g5, we're going to play rook h8. Of course, if the knight were to retreat, then we would have the move bishop h3 attacking the queen and also attacking the pawn here. I think a move like g3 would be necessary after after which we win the queen. So for that reason, after rook hg8, the move e4 is played. e4 opens up this bishop's defense on the knight, and now we're going to go into the complicated sequence of h6 attacking the knight. If the knight were to move, then we would of course have this tactic again, but knight d5 is played. Knight d5, attacking our knight and our queen and forcing a response. We have knight takes d5, and after e takes d5, our knight is attacked here. We move the knight to d4, and bishop h5 is played. Bishop h5 is a good move from white. If we were to play h takes g5, this would be a mistake because now white has the move bishop e3. So our knight is attacked twice, only defended once, and this knight cannot really move anywhere. For example, if the knight were to move back to f5, then we would have bishop takes c5, and of course if queen takes c5, then rook c1, what would be winning here. So for that reason, instead of h takes g5, we instead play the move rook takes g5. So an exchange sacrifice, and after bishop takes g5 and h takes g5, black has a comfortable edge here, especially with the open h file. The material count is 2 minor pieces for a rook and 2 pawns. Not to mention that all these pieces are great, lining up on the king side. If you're looking for another tricky opening with the black pieces, why not try out the Schara Gambit?